Hello everyone and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now, as usual, we have a packed show for you today and we'll be especially looking about how a person can reinvent themselves and change their circumstances. My guests tonight are singer, actress and teacher Claire Malcolmson, mature model Joanna Chamberlain, who lost 5 stone by the way, and we'll also have the expert opinion of psychologist Leah Perkins. And of course, we also have the self-development clinic with Chris Browne and lots of other stuff too. But first of all, let's talk to Rihanna with the news. Hello, my love.
Hi.
Looking pretty in orange today.
Oh,
in orange and blue, by the way. Nice combination.
I love it. I'm in love with this blue. It's like royal, fab. Absolutely love it.
What do you do when life gets a bit boring for you? It seems a bit stuck.
Oh my gosh. I get into exercising. I love the idea of exercising. I think it's absolutely fabulous, but to do it, I just don't. So when I feel bored, I'm like, right, I'm gonna start jogging. But then that means I have to get a really nice outfit for running and actually buy a pair of trainers. Why are you so worried
about your outfits for running?
Because it makes you excited, do you know what I mean? If you just go out in some, what do you call those, jogging thingies and a t-shirt, it's a bit boring, but you make it exciting. If you look cute and you're running, you're like, yes, I can really do this. I'm so going to get into exercising.
Well, talking about exercising, should we go to our fitness tip with Jane before we carry on, before we go to the news? Let's take a look at this fitness tip with Jane Wrafter.
Hi, I'm Jane and this is Leah. And we're going to chat to you today on our top fitness tips about how to lose weight effectively. I think the thing that most people do wrong is that they try and lose weight too quickly. Do you agree with that, Leah?
Definitely. I think it's they try to lose weight too quickly, too fast, and then what happens is they tend to put the weight back on and more.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly.
definitely something you've just got to try to make sure it's a lifestyle change and slowly, gradually taking the weight down.
Absolutely, and we've both seen lots of people make that mistake. So our advice is up your exercise, up your cardiovascular exercise, which means you raise your heart rate, up your strength training because denser muscles burn more calories, don't they?
Yeah.
And make sure that you have an active lifestyle. Keep moving, whether it's formal exercise or informal. You know, it could be gardening or just walking or something.
Just keeping active. I think with the cardio side of it as well, just two types of cardio. There's interval training where you're lifting your heart rate for 30 seconds and then dropping it down for 30, or just keep a steady kind of like a walk for 20 to 30 minutes. I think a mixture of the two, interval training and endurance type cardio, is probably the best two exercises form of cardio, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also working with weights as well can really burn more calories. And just watch your nutrition, cut out the fats, the sugars, the refined carbohydrates, increase your fruit and veg. You don't need to go hungry, you don't need to starve to lose weight.
That's right.
So good luck and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Jane and Leah. Were you paying attention, Rihanna?
Yes, I was.
Right, okay, good.
I think so.
Oh, so what do you have for the news for us today?
Wow, interesting. How to feel refreshed even after too little sleep, and why you must have an afternoon nap and never wake up tired again. Because I know people have this theory where napping is seen as being lazy, but actually having a nap is good for you. Now, I think it's Professor Richard Wiseman. He was explaining the simple techniques of how you can get used to sleep and how you can make it work for you. And he has this thing where he says that, okay, we're living in a world where, you know, work never stops, so you never sleep. So he did an experiment with a group of rats. Now they, it's not a cruel thing, but they put the rats, they wired them up to a machine and they measured, it's not cruel, but you know, for the sake of human beings. They measured their brain activity and they placed each of the animals on a stationary disc above a bowl of water. And every time the rat's brain activity indicated that he was tired, falling asleep, the disc would move. Now, the moment the disc moved, the rat would automatically become awake. But it kind of forced them to stay awake. But after a while, even though the rats had enough food and drink, but because they didn't sleep, their skin, the fur kind of died out and became yellowish and they lost weight. And after a month, all of them died. Oh. I'm sorry, but it shows how essential sleep is. So if you don't have enough sleep, and you're not, even though you're eating properly and drinking properly and everything, but if you don't get enough rest and sleep, it will ruin your routine and it will make you feel like very zombie-like. I know we
had a sleep expert on once actually, and she was saying, we were especially talking about sort of parents with young children and how little sleep they get, but she was really explaining the importance of the napping. Yeah. And she said don't get under the covers of your bed, just sit up and just have a nap for 10 minutes and it can make a world of difference.
Oh yeah, I love that. Do that at work.
But if you get into bed, then you fall into a deep sleep and then you feel even worse, which is what happens to me sometimes when I try to take a nap. Yeah. I feel worse afterwards.
You see, I thought having a nap meant, you have to get in the covers.
No,
you have to stretch,
just stay upright, just put your head back, close your eyes for 10 minutes and that will be enough to help you.
But how do you know it's 10 minutes? What if you
set your phone?
Yeah, but then you're being disturbed. You see, sometimes you just need to sleep and have everything off.
Then you'll sleep till tomorrow, so that won't work right now.
But it will, because it can save your life. Sleep can really save your life, because when you sleep and you wake up, you have that nap, 90 minutes gap, that nice cycle. I mean, at work, okay, you may work from 9 to 5, but during your lunch break, if you kind of aim to have that 10-15 minutes nap, don't eat, just have a little nap. You'll be more refreshed and you'll be more active at work as opposed to like, no, I've got to work.
Everybody, so take your naps at work.
Napping is very good for you. Okay, now this news is very, very good news, because we've had for a while, when that whole recession thing came up, it kind of scared everyone and there was lots of job cuts and things were really, really bad in the financial sector. But now the number of people out of work is not bad anymore. It's actually fallen, and there's more people getting into work. The office
still pretty bad though.
It is bad, but it's kind of improved, because the Office for National Statistics, they said that the number of people in employment rose to a record of 30.19 million. Right, I think that's a good thing, isn't it? It must be, because we had the fall of work for a very long time, and it's a really good thing for young people, because now there's more of them opening their own businesses, as well as you having the more aged people having their own businesses, and it's getting more young people jobs and opportunities and making them feel more important, because sometimes you think, okay, because I'm young, I have to work for somebody else, I have to do this, but you never think of having something of your own where other people can look up to you. Yeah, so young people can be an influence to older people as well. Definitely. So I really liked that. When I saw this news, I was impressed.
That's great.
I was really, really happy about that. Another news we have, now you'd think that you need to get on a plane to travel, but not necessarily. I know, I come up with all these weird stuff, and then Chris is looking at me like, what are you on about?
I keep saying I need to screen her news articles before she talks about them, but that would just spoil things, wouldn't it? It takes away the spontaneity of everything.
It really does. Well, this, I'd say young, because he's 26 years old, and he's an adventurer, and he was fed up of being stuck in the office, behind a desk. He's been there for 4 years, and he decided to swap his office chair for a bike. And he saddled and cycled around the world for charity. Ooh. That's really, really good. His name is Ed Cox, and he planned a trip, and he pedaled for 14,000 miles. Now that's a lot. He must his legs
must have saved
really
up to do.
How do you even do that? How do you? Is there a route? Because like with the plane you fly, and I just really tried to.
There's cycle routes and maps and things.
You can actually do that?
Yes, of
course. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't. But he cycled from his home in Bristol all the way to Australia, and he was welcomed at the finish line, and his girlfriend was there, and he raised 8,600 to the Alzheimer's disease in honour of his grandmother. Oh, so that was really, really nice of him. And he said that, I've never felt so safe, and the hospitality was like no other, and I would love to return. Yeah. That's a really good inspiration. Nice, He did something, in memory of his grandmother, and I actually love that. I think that's absolutely
I'd love to do something like that, go around the world doing something like that.
I just don't know if I could, cycle. Yeah. If I could take a plane trip to every country, that would be...
That's cheating, Rihanna.
But it's really good. Do I have time for one more?
I think we have time for one more, do we?
Well, this one's really good.
We've got 1 minute, you can do it in 1 minute.
Yes, I can. I'll be really quick. Right. A former army tank driver was turned down for 790 jobs, and he finally found work by advertising himself on Twitter.
Really?
Yep, on Twitter, and he wrote, and he said he's so relieved and he can't wait to get his first, wage, because he was out of a job for so long, and then he just wrote, I'm not, I'm from the army, I'm a perfectionist, I have a good eye, and I really need a job. Please.
You've got to admire his perseverance.
I love it. 790 people give up after 3.
Yeah.
And he kept going.
That's
and you know,
amazing.
he's trained in everything. And if I found a perfectionist like that, I'd hire them to do my chores.
Thank you so much, Rihanna.
Thank you, Chris. It was lovely being here today. I feel really good
You've
about
really
myself.
brightened up the studio. Okay, so after the break, we'll be joined by Joanna Chamberlain, who lost 5 stone and then became a mature model. And so we'll be talking about her success story, because that also featured in a magazine. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show, and today we're touching on the topic of reinventing yourself, and I've got the lovely Joanna Chamberlain with me. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm really good, Chrissy, thank you, yes.
Oh, it's great. So you've come from quite a background, haven't you? Can you tell us a bit about your past?
Yeah, well, I've always had been overweight. I was overweight as a child, 8 years old. I was sent to
8, wow.
obesity clinic at the local children's hospital.
Wow.
And I saw a doctor there for about 2 years, came out even bigger. And you always sort of yo-yo dieted all through my life. And then about 8 years, well, no, it was about 8 years that I got to my target weight, but Christmas 2004 was my sort of eureka moment. It was Christmas Day, family gathering, and my dear mother-in-law, bless her, I know she didn't mean it, but
Mother-in-laws have got away, haven't they?
yes. She's turned around to me and said, "What are you doing to yourself, Jo? You just got really, really fat." And she was right. I'd always had a weight problem, but I'd really ballooned in those, you know, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And sort of, I was in a room full of slim people, and I'm sure nobody noticed her saying it to me, but I felt everyone was looking at me and thinking, yeah, you know. So I went to bed that night, felt really sorry for myself, cried myself to sleep, and I thought, no one is ever going to say this to me ever again.
But why was it that affected you so much? Because, for example, when you were at school growing up and stuff,
I was bullied.
didn't you get, because I was as well, so kids are quite cruel sometimes, aren't they? Even the slightest thing, they'll make a big deal of it. Didn't that sort of prompt you into action, or to try and do something?
Well, it was always hard as a child because I wasn't in control of my eating. My mother cooked. I was from a family. I was the baby. There was like 13 years difference between me and my next brother. My sister was 20 years older. My mother had 2 growing, strapping lads, and she filled them up with carbs. And I you know, on a budget. And of course, I might have only been 4, but I was probably eating what a 12-year-old would. So I wasn't in, and when I went to the clinic, she took it as a personal insult and didn't really follow the diet. Even though I was desperate, I'd found articles in magazines to do exercises and stuff, and they latched onto it. So I wasn't in control of my eating at that stage.
Okay. But this time now you felt.
And I have yo-yo dieted and always put it back on. But this moment when Mum-in-law said that to me, I think why it worked was because I already knew this.
Okay.
I was kidding myself.
I don't know if we've shown the before pictures. I don't know if they've come up. I don't know if they're ready. We can carry on
You
talking
don't want
until
to
they
see
come
them,
up.
they're scary.
I want to see them.
So that it was just, you know, we all have a little something that turns us, turning point that you think, no, this isn't going to happen again. And it's funny, seeing your fitness tips was exactly what I did. I thought, right, I've done all these stupid diets, tried to lose weight fast, lost it fast. All that happens is you then crave the things you cut out. So I just decided it had to be a life change, healthy eating.
Here we go, it's one of the pictures.
Oh yes,
Okay.
that was in my 30s. That was the day, that was Christmas Day when it happened.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So it just...
So how did you do it? How did you...
It was just simply, I decided that I had to do this and it had to be for life. So no silly diets, I had to change my...
Yeah.
So I cut out the rubbish, cut out the snacks.
Was it hard though?
It was hard at first. I do like cooking, and my family all like good food. So what I did was I just adapted our normal recipes and just, you know, cut out the fat in them, cook them with less fat.
It's so doable, isn't it?
It is.
Some people think, oh my God, I've got to drastically change everything, but just a few small changes here and
yeah,
there.
it is. Like, you know, it's filling up on, we like vegetables and things. And I decided that no more biscuits or crisps were coming into the house. My children were getting, you know, in their teens, and I said to them, I'm not having any more in the house. If you want them, I'll give you the money, you can go and buy them at the corner shop.
Yeah.
I don't think...
So you had to be quite firm with yourself and with people around you then, didn't you?
And
you did it. How long did it take you to lose 5 stone?
It wasn't quick, because I did it slow, because I also at this time found I had an underactive thyroid, which I thought I had years previously, but I could lie and I could say it was all down to that. It wasn't. It was because I ate too much and was lazy. I never did exercise in my life. But I decided I had to take up exercise, so I bought a cross trainer and I used to do 20 minutes of that at home, and then gradually as the weight started coming off, I got more confidence and joined a gym.
Okay.
So did that, and gradually my weight come off. And then when I did finally get to my target weight, I've been I've been out of work for 8 years because I used to be an estate agent. And my children unfortunately were ill with ME, and I'd taken time out. But by then they'd sort of recovered and going off to university and things. So I decided I was going to retrain, and I got interested in exercise, so I retrained as a personal trainer, which was a little bit of a turn.
But how did you get into the modelling then? Because you're a model as well.
Well, because personal training was the first thing. I don't personal train anymore because a year ago it sort of turned round. But I got into the modelling because the website I lost weight with asked me if I'd do a magazine article for Woman magazine. It was on women who looked better as you know, in their 50s, 40s than they did in their 20s. And I did this article. I was so nervous, I can't tell you. I've never, because I hated, you know, overweight people hide from cameras. So to actually stand in front of a camera and have your photo taken is scary. And I went up to the studios. It was such a lovely day. I had a lovely guy, stylist, pick out clothes for me that I would never have worn in a month of Sundays. Had my makeup done, my hair done, and then, you know, put in front of a camera in the studio, and was a little bit nervous to start with, and then I really got into it. And after this shoot, I got taken aside by the team, and they said, look, we really think you should think about going into modelling.
Oh.
And I just giggled because I said, oh, don't be daft, I'm 51, you know, no one at 51 goes. They said, no, really, there is a call out there for mature models. And bless them, once the magazine was published, they let me have the photos from that shoot for my portfolio. So and they gave me, the lady that was running it gave me advice on agencies. So I managed to get agency registered.
And now you're officially a mature model. That's great. Right, shall we let's talk to Leah Perkins as well, a psychologist, because obviously you found a way to reinvent yourself. You really made something happen. But there's a lot of people sometimes that they do find it quite hard to make that change, make that decision. So let's just go to Leah. I don't know if she's ready there. Hello, Leah?
Hiya, you're right.
I can't see you. Where are you?
I'm here.
Okay, I can't see you, but I'm going to carry on. Okay, I'll talk this way.
Okay.
I can't see at the moment. Okay, so I don't know if you could hear the story here. Could you hear everything we were saying?
Yeah, I heard it towards the end of it, yeah. It sounds really inspiring.
Oh, yeah, she is. She's on the screen. There we go. I can see you now. Hello.
Oh, hello.
How are you? All right, so some people do find it difficult to reinvent themselves. Maybe they're sort of stuck in a rut. They're doing the same thing day in, day out, and they find it really hard to kind of change or make that decision to do something different. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons, but the two main ones that spring to mind are fear of change, what might come after it, and also a lack of confidence. I think people sometimes don't think they can change, or maybe they don't deserve to. So I think they're probably the biggest ones that I've come across with my clients.
Okay. How do you encourage your clients to make a change then, if they are sort of terrified of doing something different, coming out of their comfort zone?
Well, I think the first thing is that actually fear is there for a reason. So it's there to kind of help you and make you consider all the things that you need to think about. So it might be...
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Oh.
Yeah, well, I think all emotions do that. I think all emotions are there for a reason. It's just about listening to what they're trying to tell you.
Yeah.
But then there's also the other side where sometimes fear can be irrational, and we actually need to step outside our comfort zone to start making these changes. So it's identifying what side of the fear is actually rational and what side of it you kind of need to just think, yeah, I just need to get on with this and do it.
Okay. So with your clients maybe that have actually taken that step, what have the results been like for them?
Brilliant. It almost becomes like addictive, because the more they see change happening, the more opportunities there are, and it kind of opens up, and it just becomes limitless, really. It's always the first step, I think, which is the hardest.
Yeah. But we always encourage people to take that step, because there are people, they know that something's wrong, or that they're bored with their life, or that life's not meant to be that way, and that's when people start to feel down, they start to feel depressed, because they don't like their life the way it is. But you always have that option of actually doing something about it.
Definitely, I think so. And I think at any point in your life you can. It's not like a lot of people think it's too late, or, you know, they come up with reasons why they can't. But actually, there's no time like the present, and it's what you believe. If you believe you can, you can.
Definitely. All right, Leah, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Sorry, I had my back to you. I was meant to go over there. But, she was there as well. I didn't see her. All right. So how is life for you today then? After this break came and like things changed, how has it been for you?
It's great. No day is ever the same. You never know what the phone's going to ring and what's going to happen. I just love it. I meet new and different people every day. Every time I work, I was saying to our other lady that's coming on, you just meet amazing people and they inspire you. And it's really good. Yeah, I sort of do things now that never would have. I mean,
so it makes you more confident to try other things.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd said to me 10 years ago, in 10 years' time, you're going to be walking on the catwalk at NEC Birmingham for the House of Fraser, I'd say, don't be silly. But I did it, and it was great fun.
But you had to take that step, though, because sometimes people sort of just wish their life will get better, but they don't do anything different. And that's the thing: if you don't break your normal routine, nothing will change. No. You can't sort of just depend on luck or something, just a break coming for you. No. You have to do something about it.
Absolutely. I mean, how many of us things drop onto our lap? They don't. You have to go out there and get it.
And get it, definitely.
And grab it with both hands.
But you're going to stay with us, because after the break, we're going to be joined by another lovely guest. She's actress, singer and teacher Claire Malcolmson. She's going to be talking about her own success story. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the show. Now, before we go to our next guest, what do you do if the unexpected happens? Perhaps your business is going down the pan, or you've lost your job, or you've even failed your exam. Is it time to throw in the towel, or is there something else you can do? Let's take a look at this video of a successful business owner who finds ways of keeping her business alive. So Ruth, have you always wanted to be a chef?
Not really, although I have always been a chef. When I was at school, I did a lot of acting. I went to school in Cambridge, and I was in the Cambridge Youth Theatre, and I wanted to be an actress. And my parents very sensibly said, you can be an actress, or you can go to drama school if you do something else first to fall back on if you don't make it as an actress. So I went to catering college, and I just fell straight into it and enjoyed it, and never looked back, really.
So you forgot kind of the dream of being an actress because you loved the cooking so much?
I think cooking, especially somewhere like this where it's open plan, is quite theatrical anyway, especially if you're doing it in cookery school, demonstrating and things. I suppose that kind of took the place of it. But I just love cooking. I love food.
Oh, I love food too. Oh, we're in the same team here. Okay. So how did the whole this place come about then? Is it something that you always wanted to do as well, or did you just fall into it? How did it happen?
I was working somewhere else, and the farm I own the bistro part, but the farm set the bistro up initially and took me on to manage it. And And I managed it for about 3-4 years, and then they said, did I want to just take it over in my own right, which I've done for the last 2 years. And at that time, we had started the cookery school, but we've developed it more over the last year or so.
So now as a business owner, what kind of things, sort of obstacles do you maybe come across that you say, look, you know, I'm going to keep fighting this, I'm going to be successful? Is there a lot of stuff that comes your way?
I think the hardest thing really is that where we are is fairly seasonal. So in the winter time, we are quite quiet. In the summer, we're absolutely heaving. We don't have enough space in the summer. In the winter time, we've got too much space, which is why we started doing the cookery school, because we can do that on the quieter days, in the quieter weeks through the winter.
So I love that about you, because it seems like you're always finding a way to do something new and something else. And because some people say, you know what, I wanted to do this, I've stuck to this path, I don't really want to try to venture off it. But you've actually quite innovative and you're doing different things, you're updating yourself, which is great.
We try. And the other thing we also do now is outside catering. So we started doing a lot of weddings in the summer, and we're booked right through next summer with a wedding pretty much every weekend.
Now, for people that say, do you know what, I really can't cook, there's no hope for me, what would you say to them?
Go to a cook school, find your local cook school. There's quite a lot around the country now. Get some basic skills. Once you've got the basic skills, you can do anything. If you get the basic skills and you get interested, you'll just find yourself developing on your own. You can just run away with it.
Ruth, thank you. It's been so lovely spending the afternoon here. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Enjoyed it. It's a nice little place, isn't it?
Gorgeous. I love it. Okay, so now we're joined by Claire Malcolmson. Hello, Claire.
Hello, Chrissy. Nice to be here.
It's lovely to have you. So you're an actress, a teacher.
Yes.
What was the other thing?
Singer.
And a singer. Like, how did you manage all of that?
I write as well, actually.
Oh, do you? Oh, blimey.
Well, I went to drama school for 3 years, and then I worked my way up doing jobs as a young actress. And then I got married, and I found that my husband at the time didn't really want me to act, so I had my 2 children, but I eventually left him because I felt very trapped. And then I got myself into the same sort of situation again with another man and had another 2 children. And I was brought up a Catholic, and I always wanted to do the right thing and be good to my children but my partners. But eventually, I had such a dream as a child to be an actress and a singer. I used to watch all the films with my mother. I think that the main thing that should come out of this programme is that you can look at your world in 2 different ways. You can be negative about it. I suddenly looked at myself and thought, oh, I'm a one-parent family with 4 children. This is horrendous and how awful. People are going to think I'm a failure. But then I was thinking, well, no, I must use my time in this situation to do positive things. Yeah. So I learnt to be a reflexologist. And I built up a bit of money, and then I thought, fine, what do I know? I know about acting, so I started a theatre school for children, and that was quite a success. And I taught drama and singing, and then brought in dance teachers and that sort of thing. And from that, because I was working in a theatre, I started a theatre company, and.
Well, you really went for it, didn't you?
Yeah, yes, but it was all very gentle. I didn't just. I'm not a sort of pushy go-getter. Yeah. I just looked at myself sometimes and thought, actually, I need to do a bit more. I need to change something.
It's interesting that you say that, because sometimes people watching might think, oh, but I don't have that in me too. I'm not that kind of person that will go out there and get things done. But it's not necessarily, you don't have to be that kind of, have that kind of personality. Just work at your own pace and do things, step by step.
Yes, and then as you were saying, more doors open and more opportunities come. Yeah. For instance, a couple of years ago, and the other thing is, very often, I'm not always positive. I think people think people who are successful are always positive and always striving, moving forward. I have my off days and I sit there and I'm, oh gosh, this is so boring, but then I think, if I make a little change, something else will happen. Yeah. And I did that about 18 months ago. I was getting a bit fed up. And so I wrote some letters to some theatres. I wanted some more acting work. I wrote these letters and I got a really good response. But actually in my letters, I told the directors a little bit about myself. It wasn't a sob story. It was just, and some of them reacted in a very positive way. And from that, I ended up being asked by 2 theatres to do a show, which ended up being The Hound of the Baskervilles. Oh, wow. And I'd done that before with my theatre company, but the script wasn't very good. So I can't believe I did this. I said, okay, I'll write my own. Oh. So So I wrote it from the book, and I wrote my own version of The Hand of the Baskervilles, and then took it around on tour last year. And it was very successful, but you take it a step at a time. I didn't really think I could do it, but I did. I'd never really written anything. I'd adapted things for the children that I taught for. Yes, you do have to have a certain amount of self-belief, but I think that had come over the years. And I do.
But that's the thing, because that develops over time. Even if you just have that tiny bit, that's enough to get you started, and you take that first step, and then, as you said, things start to happen. But if you don't at least take one small step towards something, nothing's going to change. Very rare that something will just drop into your lap, like you said earlier.
Absolutely. And I think very often people are disappointed with life because they think they wanted to do that and it hasn't worked out that way. And I could have looked at my life like that and thought, oh, well, I'm not an actress, I'm not doing what I want to do. But actually what's happened now is, because I had to turn my hand to lots of different things, I can do lots of different things, and I would never have tried those. Well, yes, but I would never have tried to have done those things. You know, I would never have imagined that I would do something like that.
That's amazing.
So, it was
fun. How does it make you feel? Because, you know, sometimes also sort of about being the single mum, there's a lot of single mums out there that are thinking, do you know what, I'm by myself, I don't have a man by my side, I don't think I have what it takes, it's too hard with children and I've got no support. What would you say to them that are in this situation, that think that their life is over just because they don't have a partner?
Well, I think the first thing really is personally how you present yourself to the world and to yourself. If you go around in old leggings or jogging pants and holes and you feel miserable,
isn't it?
Yes, but if you do that all the time, you will feel miserable and you will feel negative.
Very true, I agree.
You know, I always put mascara on.
Is that your secret weapon?
Yes, that is my secret weapon. It makes me feel much better. But you see people and they're just going around not making an effort, and therefore people will react differently to them.
Yeah.
If you're not presenting yourself positively at all, then you're always going to have negative reactions from other people. Or not always, but you can do, and then you get more and more down. So I mean, I had my children were 2 together, and then there was a big gap, and then 2 together. So I was like starting off again, and I have to say, it's my oldest is now nearly 25, and my youngest is 13, and I wouldn't change it at all. But I now feel freer now, because now I can really do. Life has been a bit of a compromise. I've had to really be careful. I used to go away and tour when I was before I got married and stuff, and tour around Germany and England and stuff, and I couldn't do that, obviously. But now, I'm coming through it, and I think that life is opening up again, and I can go. They're at home tonight. I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have left them, 10 years ago at home. Yes.
So there's always opportunities, no matter what stage of life that you're at, isn't it? Oh, that's wonderful. Ladies, you've been an absolute pleasure to have on the show.
Thank you.
And it's very inspiring, both your stories. I really love, everything that you've said, and it just goes to prove to our viewers that it's never too late to start something. And please, I think the main thing that we want to put across as well is that take that first step, believe in yourself, take that step, and opportunities will come, and then grab them and do something with them.
Definitely.
Right? And if that one fails, try again, right?
Yes.
Because it's not always, you've both been successful, but there were obviously, we didn't have time to talk about it, but you did hit brick walls sometimes that you had to sort of jump over or push through or go around.
There are often nasty people around.
Exactly.
Yes, but you just have to be positive.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great pleasure to have you on the show. Well, after the break, we'll be speaking to Chris Browne with the Self-Development Clinic, so don't go away.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back, and we're now in the Self-Development Clinic with Chris Browne. Hello, Chris.
Hi, Chrissy. How are we doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Brilliant, brilliant. I was sitting over there listening to what he was talking about, and I take my hair off, right? And I commend him on everything that was said, because I thought the whole idea of not giving up and waiting to maturity and really doors just opening. It's just great,
amazing,
A lot of people just give up before and think that's it. I mean, spot on with advice and everything. I thought it was brilliant,
Okay. Would you like to help me to answer a question from a viewer?
Sure,
I'd like to get a man's opinion on this as well, because we had a question here. And he's saying, "Hi Chrissy, I fancy my dead brother's wife, but not sure if I should say anything to her. I know she's lonely because she talks to me, but I don't want her to think I was only there for her because I liked her. What would you do, Chrissy?" And this is from Jason. Now, I think, it's a positive sign, obviously, that she feels she can talk to you, but I think you have to be a bit careful in this situation because perhaps there's sort of like a natural bond there because you both lost someone that was very, very close to you. So maybe you could be confusing those feelings with actually having feelings for her. Maybe it's just because you're both missing him. So I think if something's happened, if the death happened quite recently, I would leave it a while and just see if it's not just sort of emotions building up and making you think that you feel that way about her. And also, once you've done that and you still feel that, maybe you do actually like her and you want to say something, has she given you any signs that she likes you? Is she ready for another relationship? So I think you just have to give it some time if it is something that's happened quite recently, because obviously you do already have some kind of relationship with her. Now, having said that, I do know a very good friend of mine, this actually happened to him because his father died and then his mum married the father's brother, and they're getting along really well. So it can have a happy ending, but just make sure that you're not mixing your feelings up, first of all. That would be my advice. What would you say, Chris?
It's quite interesting. I look at it as situation, it's their relationship they've built up. But I say they, but is it both? Just like you said, both sides. And at a time like that, you think about it, it's Jason, did you say his name's Jason? Yeah. There's so many other women in the world, right? There's so many other women. Why would you focus particularly on your, brother's wife at the end of the day? Well, who's passed. And only thing I think about is the emotions that are built up through what's going on at the same time and leaning on somebody. Sometimes it gets transferred into other information. So I'd give it a while and see later on, if anything. Yeah.
All right, Jason, so I hope that helps and I hope that everything really works out for both of you. All right, so Chris, you have some things to share with us.
I do, and we're talking today about qualities, work qualities and personality qualities. But before saying that, earlier on, I realised when Rihanna was saying, right, about those individuals who went off and did their own thing and started their own businesses, young people doing it. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was great. I work a lot with young people, and I've had some this week who have actually done that as well. And there was a particular gentleman who had no concept at all what he wanted, and by the time he finished course, he actually hit all his targets, what he wanted to do, and start his own business. Nice. And then last week we had this other group as well, where they've actually started their own business. There was a woman particularly, her name was Marlene Huey, who started her own designs as well, which I thought, this is brilliant. And it goes back to what he was talking about with your guest earlier on as well. Starting, going for it, making mistakes, failing forward. So it ties in with this, with your strengths and qualities in finding out about yourself. What are you actually good at the end of the day? So normally with businesses, you've got SWOT. I think we talked lightly on this in the past because that word stuck, right? SWOT. And when you start a business, you do a SWOT. Or if it's an acquisition and company taking over the company, you do a SWOT. And SWOT stands for, well, I'll tell you, first one is the S, which stands for strength. Okay, W, weakness, and then O is opportunities, and the last one, T, is threats. Now, when we look at it as a company, it's completely different, but when we look at it as our own personalities and see who we are and where we fit in with different work, it's a different ball game at the end of the day, but it's a bit of being truthful to yourself. So I'd actually say, as I normally say, get a piece of paper, get a pad and start to write this down. So let's start with the S anyway, right? SWOTs. I've got some notes down myself, which I put on this, which I thought, let's hit this in a different way, right? So SWOTs, when we're talking about strengths here, the number S, let's get our number S's on. The letter S, right? The letter S, right? And it's looking at, what do other people say about you that they say that you're good at? We get a lot of times where somebody says, you're good at this or you're good at that. And that's sort of bashful way of saying, no, I'm not. Yeah. I'm not good at this. No, somebody else. No, you are good at it. And that's why they say that at the same time. So you've got to actually recognize and work out, well, look, if I did this, what do people actually say I'm good at all the time? And the other one I went for was, what would you say that you do best, a lot better than other people do? And that's another thing that people shy away from. It's not arrogance or anything like that.
This is a thing, because especially British people, I think, they don't like to be like,
I just weren't saying
I'm good at this, I'm good at that, because they think it sounds big-headed.
Yeah, but it's not. It's recognising
Yeah,
your qualities,
exactly.
who you are. I mean,
There's a difference between being arrogant and being confident.
there is
Yeah.
complete difference, and that's another topic another day, something normally talk about in workshops as well. Right, so that's another area as well. If you can actually write these down, work them out, put them aside, what does it equal up to at the end of the day? That is one of your qualities, your skills that everybody else has recognised. Now, let's talk about weaknesses to cut things down, right? Is there an aspect in your personality that you actually hold back? Say it again. Is there an aspect in your personality that you actually hold back? And that's part of a quality as well. Going back to that same thing, the bashful way. There's an aspect in your personality which you don't let shine. You hold it back. Or, you won't relax and enjoy yourself in that sort of way.
Yeah.
Or maybe one of your skills to do with your work as well, that you're looking at somebody else doing it and think, I could do that. But you sit there at your table thinking, well, maybe they won't take me on for it. Shine. Shine. Let your light shine. Show what you can do. That aspect that you're hiding, put it up front now.
That could be the way to open the doors for
That
things
is
to
it.
happen.
That is it. It's funny because your guest earlier on was talking about the modelling as well. One door led to another door, which opened another door at the end of the day. Brilliant, brilliant. Now, the other one is where do I actually lack experiences, right? Where do I lack experience? So we're talking about weaknesses here. Where do I actually lack experience? Thinking about that, you can think of many areas where you think you could develop yourself. If only I learned more about that skill, where you'd be adding value to yourself, makes you better in the job market as well. Okay, so here we go. Opportunities. I like this one. Opportunities, which we were talking about earlier on. Lovely. I'm always sitting there going, opportunities, that's great, that's great what we're doing. Right. Okay, here we go. I've got one written down here. What would you love to do that you're good at? Right, now, when you think about that is your innate potential inside of you. What are you actually good at? What would you actually love to do with it? That creates opportunities as well. Let that shine. Here we go. How would you actually minimize your weakness? So when you think about minimizing your weakness, you've got to build on a strength instead. So you're building your strength and taking down that weakness at the same time, right? Now, there's something else which I didn't actually mention earlier on. Usually we say when we talk about this, I'm going to jump back a bit to the weakness one. What I normally say weaknesses are. Instead, when we was talking about it last time, every
I told
time,
you off when
you
you
did,
said
yes, and quite right
what was
too.
the areas for
development?
For development,
yeah. Don't look at weaknesses as a weakness. Always see it as an area of development, right? So let's jump back now. I had to get it in. It was coming. He was looking at me. I had to get it in. Okay, so we're going about threats now. Threats. What setbacks might you face? Everybody at some point in life is going to face a setback. But
and not just one, right? Loads
not
of
just one, many. Yeah. But it's how you actually deal with them. How do you knock them down? How you actually approach them. That's what really matters. Some people get a setback and think, oh, that's it. It's not going to work. That's not for me. I told you so. You know those I told you so ones are self-fulfilling prophecies? They thought it in their head enough to actually believe it. As soon as it pokes its head up, they think,
that's it.
I can't do it. Yeah? Forget about the one. Rub that one out, and go ahead with it. Right, let's talk about another week soon. Obstacles that other people you've seen have overcome, right? Or that you actually need to overcome as well. So you need to think about it as well. How are you going to apply yourself? Because these are threats and they're non-existent threats. Sometimes we have threats in our mind that we think about might happen. They've never happened.
And they're not even
Go
real.
ahead. Yeah, they're not real. We make them up at the end of the day. And it's funny because just in general in life we do that. And think about when you start in a business as well, you start thinking about, well, this might happen, that might happen, I won't take that chance, I won't do this, oh, my funding, this, that and the other. You know, all these things that haven't even happened yet. So if you start on that thought, you're bound to fail at the end of the day.
Do you know what my favourite quote is?
Go.
My favourite quote is, what would you attempt to do if you knew you wouldn't fail? Yes. I love that quote, because imagine if we all lived by that.
Oh.
Day in, day out. There was no sort of chance of what would you try to do? You would do everything.
You do everything. I think
and that's what faith is, isn't it? You just believe in yourself and you go for it.
Stepping out and doing it at the end of the day. Because the thing is, if everybody did live by that, imagine this, Success Mountain at the top would be overcrowded, wouldn't it? So that would be brilliant. And it's great to actually think that way every day. Every time you're about to attempt something, before you start your day, think, well, I'm not going to fail. Yeah. What can I do? I think that's a great one as well. I actually go with that. Yeah. We should put that one up, don't you think?
We should. We should
have that one all the time.
For the show.
Yeah, that's it. You know, it's brilliant. You know. So overall, threats. That was the last one. So we're talking about SWOTs, right? Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats on a personal level instead. Work those out, put them down, and then just go for it.
It is really worth it. I mean, don't just watch this now and just say, oh yeah, that sounds really good, and that's it. I think it's really something that everyone should sit down and actually write it down, think about it, take some time by yourself without any interruptions and really think about it and put pen to paper and really, you know, develop the ideas and then start working on them.
It makes all difference. And as you said, you know, you could think about something, but if you actually take the action, actually do it, you will see things materialise.
Definitely.
So for those who are actually sitting here, watch this. Soon as we've finished, right?
Yeah.
Get there, get your pen and paper out, start.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Pleasure.
See you again next time.
Next week. Okay, Chrissy, thanks.
All right, so that's it for the show for today. I do hope you've enjoyed everything that we've presented today. And if you want more information about the program, about any of our guests tonight, you can visit the website chrissybshow.tv. And don't forget, you can always email me personally as well if you'd like to maybe be a guest on the show, you have a story to share, or you'd like to see a topic covered on this show. I'm very open to suggestions. You can email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye for now.